Round 1. Try to listen. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I've always been good at hiding. Behind a smile, a laugh, a seemingly carefree existence. But beneath the surface, a storm raged. A silent tempest that no one could see, no one could hear. I was a master of disguise, a walking contradiction. The world saw Jake, the happy-go-lucky guy. But inside, I was Jake, the silent burden. It started subtly, a creeping shadow that slowly consumed my light. At first, I dismissed it as a passing phase, a temporary dip in my mood. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the weight of this invisible burden grew heavier. It was a constant companion, a silent specter that haunted my every waking moment. I'd wake up each morning, feeling like I was dragging a chain behind me. The world seemed muted, devoid of color. Joy was a distant memory, replaced by a pervasive sense of emptiness. I'd force myself to smile, to laugh, to engage in conversations, but it was all a facade. Inside, I was crumbling. I tried to bury my feelings, to shove them deep down, where no one could find them. I'd distract myself with work, with hobbies, with anything that could take my mind off the pain. But it was like trying to outrun a shadow. No matter how fast I ran, it was always there, lurking just behind me. Desperate for relief, I turned to self-medication. But it was a temporary fix, a fleeting escape from reality. I also tried to find solace in unhealthy coping mechanisms. I'd isolate myself, avoiding social interactions. I'd indulge in excessive eating or restrict my intake, using food as a way to control my emotions. But these behaviors only exacerbated my problems, leading to a downward spiral. I realized that I couldn't keep living like this. The burden was becoming too heavy to bear. I knew I needed help, but I was terrified of what people might think. I didn't want to be labeled as weak or broken. I wanted to maintain my image as the happy, carefree guy. One day, I reached a breaking point. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I knew that if I didn't seek help, I might not survive. With trembling hands, I picked up the phone and called a therapist. At first, I was hesitant to open up. I was afraid of being judged, of being seen as a failure. But as I began to share my experiences, I felt a sense of relief. The therapist listened without judgment, offering words of encouragement and understanding. Over time, I learned that I wasn't alone. Many people struggle with depression, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I also discovered the power of connection. Talking to someone who genuinely cared about me helped me feel less isolated and less alone in my pain. With the support of my therapist and loved ones, I began to embark on the road to recovery. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, days when the darkness seemed to overwhelm me. But I learned to be patient with myself, to celebrate small victories, and to focus on progress, not perfection. I started practicing self-care, taking time for activities that brought me joy. I learned to recognize and challenge negative thought patterns. I also discovered the benefits of mindfulness and meditation, which helped me to stay present and grounded. As I continued to heal, I began to see the world in a different light. Colors seemed brighter, sounds more vibrant. I started to appreciate the simple joys of life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of human connection. The journey to recovery was long and challenging, but it was worth it. I emerged from the darkness, a stronger, more resilient person. I learned to embrace my vulnerability, to be honest with myself and with others. I discovered that it's okay to not be perfect, that it's okay to ask for help. Today, I am no longer the silent burden. I am a survivor, a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. I continue to practice self-care, to seek support when needed, and to appreciate the beauty of life. And while I may never be completely free from the shadows of my past, I have learned to live with them, to find peace within myself. I have discovered that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the ability to find joy even in the darkest of times.
Let's learn some new vocabulary.
Now that we've followed Jake through his journey of self-discovery and emotional healing, let's take a moment to go over some important words and phrases that might be new to you. Understanding these will not only help you enjoy the story better but also expand your vocabulary, especially when it comes to expressing feelings and emotions. Here are the key words and phrases from Jake's journey. 1. Silent burden. Explanation. This phrase refers to a heavy emotional weight that someone carries without expressing it to others. It's often used to describe feelings of depression or anxiety that are hidden from the world. 2. Facade. Explanation. A facade is a false appearance or a way of acting that hides someone's true feelings or intentions. It's often used to describe someone who pretends to be happy or carefree when they are actually struggling inside. 3. Self-medication. Explanation. This refers to the use of substances or behaviors to cope with emotional pain or distress. It can include excessive drinking, drug use, or unhealthy eating habits. 4. Downward spiral. Explanation. A downward spiral is a negative cycle of events that gets progressively worse over time. It's often used to describe someone who is struggling with mental health issues and is engaging in self-destructive behaviors. 5. Resilience. Explanation. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity and overcome challenges. It's a crucial quality for anyone facing difficult times. 6. Self-care. Explanation. Self-care refers to activities that promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It can include things like exercise, relaxation techniques, and spending time with loved ones. 7. Mindfulness. Explanation. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment. It can help to reduce stress and anxiety, and improve overall well-being.
Round 2. Shadowing.
I've always been good at hiding. Behind a smile, a laugh, a seemingly carefree existence. But beneath the surface, a storm raged. A silent tempest that no one could see, no one could hear. I was a master of disguise, a walking contradiction. The world saw Jake, the happy-go-lucky guy. But inside, I was Jake, the silent burden. It started subtly, a creeping shadow that slowly consumed my light. At first, I dismissed it as a passing phase, a temporary dip in my mood. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the weight of this invisible burden grew heavier. It was a constant companion, a silent specter that haunted my every waking moment. I'd wake up each morning, feeling like I was dragging a chain behind me. The world seemed muted, devoid of color. Joy was a distant memory, replaced by a pervasive sense of emptiness. I'd force myself to smile, to laugh, to engage in conversations, but it was all a facade. Inside, I was crumbling. I tried to bury my feelings, to shove them deep down, where no one could find them. I'd distract myself with work, with hobbies, with anything that could take my mind off the pain. But it was like trying to outrun a shadow. No matter how fast I ran, It was always there, lurking just behind me. Desperate for relief, I turned to self-medication. But it was a temporary fix, a fleeting escape from reality. I also tried to find solace in unhealthy coping mechanisms. I'd isolate myself, avoiding social interactions. I'd indulge in excessive eating or restrict my intake, using food as a way to control my emotions. But these behaviors only exacerbated my problems, leading to a downward spiral. I realized that I couldn't keep living like this. The burden was becoming too heavy to bear. I knew I needed help, but I was terrified of what people might think. I didn't want to be labeled as weak or broken. I wanted to maintain my image as the happy, carefree guy. One day, I reached a breaking point. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I knew that if I didn't seek help, I might not survive. With trembling hands, I picked up the phone and called a therapist. At first, I was hesitant to open up. I was afraid of being judged, of being seen as a failure. But as I began to share my experiences, I felt a sense of relief. The therapist listened without judgment, offering words of encouragement and understanding. Over time, I learned that I wasn't alone. Many people struggle with depression, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I also discovered the power of connection. Talking to someone who genuinely cared about me helped me feel less isolated and less alone in my pain. With the support of my therapist and loved ones, I began to embark on the road to recovery. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, days when the darkness seemed to overwhelm me. But I learned to be patient with myself, to celebrate small victories, and to focus on progress, not perfection. I started practicing self-care, taking time for activities that brought me joy. I learned to recognize and challenge negative thought patterns. I also discovered the benefits of mindfulness and meditation, which helped me to stay present and grounded. As I continued to heal, I began to see the world in a different light. Colors seemed brighter, sounds more vibrant. I started to appreciate the simple joys of life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of human connection. The journey to recovery was long and challenging, but it was worth it. I emerged from the darkness, a stronger, more resilient person. I learned to embrace my vulnerability, to be honest with myself and with others. I discovered that it's okay to not be perfect, that it's okay to ask for help. Today, I am no longer the silent burden. I am a survivor, a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. I continue to practice self-care, to seek support when needed, and to appreciate the beauty of life. And while I may never be completely free from the shadows of my past, I have learned to live with them, to find peace within myself. I have discovered that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the ability to find joy even in the darkest of times.